Hi, this is Mike, making my video. It's 3/8/2025 and it's 11:30 p.m. Um, yeah, I'm just basically, talking about, uh, my life, and how I view things. Um, I'm more or less an existentialist, and I believe there is a God. I met him, and all that, but I live a simple life. Simple life, and I chase after pleasure to an extent, but not necessarily. I kind of gave up the whole idea of chasing after women. I can get access to that, uh, with virtual reality. So I can see any kind of woman I really want. So that really has gotten to the point where I really don't desire it anymore. Not that much. I appreciate women. I see the beauty and splendor about them and stuff like that. But they it's really something I'm not gonna forgo. I'm not gonna go out of my way to have. Um, I'm not gonna pay the price. Let's say. Just for fleeting pleasures, that's really what everything is in life. If you can see it, it's going to disappear at some point. And, if it's the hidden things, the things that are unseen that are permanent. So, you think about it, the fleeting pleasures of life, the fleeting nature of life, the transient nature of existence. Our lives are short, and we should make the most of what life we have and enjoy the things we have while we're here. But, really, in essence, we're sojourners, and we're just strangers in the strange land for the most part. The world, the world is our home. Whatever stage it's in. But for the most part, it's paradise. It could be heaven, it could be hell. So, but people don't seem to realize, that some people don't. They don't realize that things are transient, and you can look at all the cars that are driving by in a given day, and there's going to be some point in time when they're all going to be in the junkyard, and not to mention the drivers in those cars. Uh, they're going to be dead at some point in the grave. So I'm 55. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of things, and I've been through a lot. But the thing is that I'm really starting to really realize is that everything's transient. I can be outside any given day, and there's countless ambulances within a month's time or whatever, several months, and they go by, and a lot of those people are overdoses or dying of heart attacks or whatever, and you got to figure how many people in China have died, and you got to figure how many crematoriums they're all working overtime to burn the bodies. So it talks to scripture about how you can pick a flower and it's beautiful and you can enjoy it and cherish it, but sooner or later it wilts, and that beautiful flower, gets put in the fire and burned in a crematorium sometime, So you got to figure we all reach our height, and we all get to the point where, we're at that high point in life, but then again, sooner or later, we get to the point where we're old, and we more or less have to give up the ghost. So anyhow, that's really the transient nature of things. And you go like, well, we talk about, how we're going to own nothing and be happy. That's kind of like the idea of planned obsolescence in a lot of things. The DVDs are outdated, and cassette tape players and record players and old school telephone, rotary phones, and incandescent lamps and stuff like that. So they're all digital, or they went to fluorescent, now they're digital. And you got to figure a lot of these computers, they're just too slow, or they're old school technology. But I kind of like to repurpose things. I like to use things that are discarded, things that people don't like or they don't appreciate. I clean it up, and I give it a second life. I give it a second chance. And I like to breathe life into cars and give them a second chance. But I'm kind of getting away from the whole car thing. I might get one, maybe two cars, and then the rest of them, I'm just giving up on the whole idea of cars, and I'm giving up on the whole idea of chasing after women. Women and wine. I don't get drunk anymore. I gave up on that, and I gave up on women for the most part. And then, of course, having a lot of cars, and then that's eventually going to trickle down to not having any laptops or any cameras or any cell phones. So I'm going to start to learn how to let go of things, and then live kind of a minimalist lifestyle, not so minimal, but minimal to the point where I don't have as much stuff, and slowly but surely, that's happening, and eventually I'm gonna trickle down to being a hermit. I'm kind of that way now, but I'm not, completely disassociated with living in the city. I live in the city because it's common sense, to pay an extra couple $100 more or whatever, $200-300 more, and live in the city, and then you got the at least you have the things you want to do, and you can at least go shopping or whatever, and you can get on the bus or a taxi. So anyway, that's how I am, but it's a transient thing, transient nature of everything, and everything is gonna go at some point. You don't get too attached to things, and when those things get taken away from you, you're not completely destroyed or ruined. You don't lament about your losses that much. I've lost so much stuff in life, but the thing is, I realize that sooner or later I'm gonna have to let go of these things. And the only way to enter in the kingdom of heaven is to let go of things. And then when you do that, you renounce the world. And when you renounce the world, and all those things can't follow you anymore, whether it be family, friends, or even the merchandise, you can't carry it on your back anymore. You can't take it with you. You walk away from everything. You renounce the world. So when you become wealthy, then you renounce the world. When you get wealthy from the world. But they say that only the wealthy should rule. They're talking about people that walk away from things that had a lot of wealth, and then they end up ruling overall, and they have power over things, over the sun, the moon, the stars. They control the wind, the fire, the earth, and earth, fire, wind, and water. They control those four elements, and then they start to have access to that, to where they realize that they do have power over those things, and they do have sway over those things. But you have to become wealthy before you do that. You have to have some bargaining chips, and in your weakness, God's strength is made perfect. So your infirmities and your weaknesses, when you're like that, your brain basically does a survival thing, survival mechanism, fight or flight, focus or fold, and then basically when you fold, you give in, you submit to the universe, and the universe will submit to you. So once you do all that, then you realize that you have power, and that power will make you marvel over it all, and then of course then you rule over all. So to become like God, you know, you have to go through those steps. You know, you have to learn to let go of things, and that's really what it is. You learn to let go, and you learn to trust the universe for what it has in store for you, and you don't fight against it. You know, you accept things for what they are, and then if you're fighting against things, that's what a fool would do. And of course, you learn to accept things and work with them and go with the ebb and flow of things. And then that's what a wise man does. And of course, you don't want to fight against fate, you know. And then you accept fate. You accept things for what they are. If you know you just you can't change them, and then you realize that once those things are at that point where you can't change them, you know, that's because the past has expressed itself, and you're living in the present moment. And you try, I mean, sure, but the thing is there comes a point in time sometimes where things are inevitable, and things just manifest and become what they are, and you accept those things for what they are. And that's how you accept things, and then you bless those things, and you send them off into the future. So anyhow, that's really what I have to say. So you accept things, and you accept the transient nature of things too. You know, you just realize that you're a sojourner. It's kind of like a kid in a room full of toys on shelves. Take all these toys off the shelves, you play with them, you move on to the next shelf. You just keep doing that, and eventually you get to the point where you put all the toys back, and then you leave with a smile on your face. And that's kind of what it is. It's like we're in this world. It's temporary, and you enjoy things for what they are while you have them. And then, of course, when those things can't follow you, friends, family, you know, your kids or whatever, your wife, your friends, your immediate family, your extended family, and all your nuclear family and all that, all those people can't follow you. In society, you know, the 99 sheep, you're the one that gets away and walks away from it all. And then, of course, you know, Jesus, or what the Christ concept, finds you, and then you become like Christ. And, you know, then that manifests within you, and then you become like Christ. And you see the things that he sees, you know, you become like him, act like him. And you get the things that he gets, and you get the things that you see, the things that he sees. You know, those hidden things are revealed to you, and then maybe sometimes it is great wealth, but sometimes you take that great wealth and then you trade it in for greater things. And that's really been, you know, the way I live my life and how I do things throughout time. And there really isn't much left anymore, except for me to eat, drink, and be merry, work with my hands, tinker with things, and take pleasure in things, and of course the small things in life. You know, I think I've reached every mountain, every peak, every high, every low, and you know, really what's left is just little smaller things that I enjoy, and whatever that is, you know, I just take pleasure in it. And of course, you know, if I'm with a woman or whatever, you know, I'm not going to make that my number one thing in life and put her on some kind of pedestal and worship her. You know, the thing is if I do get that, I get it. But if I don't, I don't. And of course, whatever else, what other material object I have, those are nice things to have. But eventually, it gets to the point where, you know, at some point down the road, you know, I'll be empty and blank. And maybe I will be empty and blank, but then I'll probably be naked, and then I'll just leave this world. So, you know, you just gotta, you know, just take it with a grain of salt and then just enjoy it. And that's really all there is to it. And eventually you move on to your next level. But life is not permanent in this physical flesh, but then again, in the spiritual body, it is permanent. And you can come back to the physical flesh again. So I'm not too worried about things. I'm thankful for whatever I have, and I have thanks. And, you know, I just have patience, and it all works out. Over and out.